setting the tone early, fighting my form and style of boxing that'll assure me a victory, and adjusting if need be.
Yeah, he throws about 45 punches around. I saw Andre in the build up to this fight on Sporting News saying, "Man, you threw 90 punches in sparring that round." Do you think that's important to this fight? You got to be more active than Canelo.
I think that's key in any fight, but definitely this fight because the more punches that I throw and the more accurate that I am inside the fight, I think will assure me each and every round. The goal and the key for me is to hit and not get hit. But Andre's mentality and motto is when you're throwing almost 100 punches around, you can never lose a fight. So that's just really the keys to victory is just to stay busy, stay active, especially against a guy who fights in spurts. I mean, throughout Canelo's whole career, we seen him fight in maybe half of a round, but it's great rounds, but at this level, in my opinion, especially against a fighter like Canelo Álvarez, I need to remain active, busy, my jab popping, my combinations, punches and bunches, and if I need to set up power shots to gain my respect or to push him back or whatever the case may be, we're prepared to do so. Good. Oof, it's a toll on the body. It's definitely, no, I won't say body, but mentally, it's definitely a toll on your mental state because at times where you may want to rest or just get to the presser or the main actual events that we do, you have to do 20 different interviews and you have to get up and ready. And you guys know I love doing interviews, so I'm always, just up and giving my best. So it's been a toll, but it comes with the territory. And being at this level, the world wants to see the best fighters, and they demand your attention. So it's just something that I have to deal with and learn how to manage. But I think we're doing a pretty good job because I'm still very focused and still hungry for Saturday night. I'm having a great time. Yeah, I'm just not a morning person, so that's really it. Other than that, I'm great. I'm having a great time. Yeah.
Yesterday you were talking about electricity coming to T-Mobile Arena your first time here in Las Vegas. How do you handle it?
This is a big fight. There's no doubt. It's inevitable that there are going to be so many fans, and Canelo Álvarez is a very popular guy. So the fact that everyone was there cheering on Canelo, and the arena was almost filled inside that lobby, right? And it shows that boxing is still alive, and that when you're at this stage, things that you've always dreamed of when you first put your first pair of boxing gloves on can come true. And I'm just trying to embrace it, but I'm not trying to let my mental and physical state be drained because of it as well. So I have to find the right place to just store it, focus on the fight, and after the fight, I can talk to you guys for however long you want to talk. But right now, I'm just trying to remain focused.
Mexican fans are the hardest. Mexican fans are the hardest. Do you want to conquer their heart?
I just want to conquer Canelo. He has heart of steel. Obviously, we know he has true grit. So for me, just besting him in any way that I can, I just want to be the victor to prove to the world that not only am I the best middleweight in the world, but without a doubt that I could be a Hall of Famer one day. So and hopefully gain a couple of Canelo fans as well, because I think that with him being the face of boxing, all the world knows him as the best. And even if they don't consider him the best, he's one of the best, and people support him because he's the face. So if I can get the victory, and when I get the victory, somehow gain more popularity and more fans, I just think that it'll just add to just my legacy. Yeah.
Do you go into this fight kind of with a plan of fighting out of a southpaw stance at all, or is that switching into that stance? Is that something that's just kind of happens?
Well, I don't know what we're gonna do as far as switching southpaw, because I might not need to switch southpaw. he may not be able to get past my jab. I might be very effective with staying orthodox and using my combinations from that stance. When I switch southpaw, sometimes it's just to give a fighter a different look. And it's to get more of an advantage from that stance because it takes a little longer for them to reach me because I'm such a long guy. And when I sit on that back foot, I'm even longer to reach to. And Canelo Álvarez has shorter arms. So there's so many things that we can go to. We have plan A, we have plan B, all the way to plan Z. So it's about adjusting, implementing what I need to do inside the fight. From my team, Andre Rozier, he's going to instruct me from the corner and yelling, obviously, from ringside. And it's just about getting the job done. But I think, like Floyd Mayweather always say, true champions always adjust. So if I need to do so, I'll be ready.
Hey, Mr. Jacobs, how are you finding the time to relax through all this process and keep your mind focused and just kind of relax your brain before the big fight?
Just simply meditating. I'm big on yoga and I'm big on just relaxing my mind. I actually have a yoga instructor that's with me 24/7 that's helping me with breathing techniques and getting myself to be calm in all of this madness. And I won't call you guys mad, but it's a lot. And it takes a lot for a fighter to focus on the task at hand when you have so much going on in the outside world. So I'm doing a really good job of it.
Danny, how many requests for tickets are you getting right now?
None whatsoever. Yeah, this is the Golden Boy card, and we only got about 20 tickets. So I let everybody, especially my family and friends, know that we don't have none because Oscar De La Hoya wasn't having it.
Well, Dan, talking about how this is kind of new to you, but Canelo's been here and done that, so people look at that as an advantage for him and experience. But at the same time, because it's your first time here, do you think you're hungrier than he is, and that could be an advantage for you?
I mean, I've been in big fights before. Like I said, I've been in the stadium where it was a sold-out show, and I fought on TV in front of millions of people viewing. So that nervousness or that feeling is not unfamiliar to me, and I can now strive in it because of the experience that I do have. So I'm just looking forward to getting the job done. But as far as like this being my first rodeo, even though this is the peak and the magnitude of it is at an all-time high, it's still not unfamiliar to me because, I mean, it's 20 more cameras doesn't mean any difference, or a couple more million people viewing, it's really not going to make a difference. I've already experienced that. So I'm just looking forward to just being the best version of myself come fight night.
Do you think you're the hungrier fighter, though?
In my mind, I think I'm still hungry because even though I've had a lot of success in boxing, I still feel like I'm always going to be the B-side. That's just me telling myself mentally, like, you're still B-side. You're still not a champion. You still have to, act as if you're hungry and act as if you haven't made it and act as if you haven't had success. And that's what drives me because where I come from in Brownsville, I never had anything handed to me. So I keep all of those things in my mind to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow.
Hostile environments is something like when you come in, you're going to hear all these fans cheering for Canelo. Every punch he lands, you're going to be cheering for him. Has there been any fight that you can kind of compare or think about where you had to deal with a hostile environment and overcome it?
The Golovkin fight, it was a semi-hostile territory. Even though by the end of the night we gained a lot of fans and people were rooting for me by the end of the night, but I just think that how I use the energy is going to affect me in the best way, shape possible because I thrive off of just energy. And like I've said before, whether they're rooting for me or whether they're booing against me, the fact that it's going to be noise and cheering and screams, that's going to pump me up. So it's just going to bring the best out of me.
When, you talk about the judges being swayed and things like that, but how are you swayed by the crowd when they're cheering for Canelo, maybe a punch that you block they're cheering for? How do you turn that energy into not nervous energy or excitement, but how do you stay composed in that moment?
Well, I just get excited, but it's really up to me to know how to go with that excitement and work harder or push harder or to fall back and box. And, I had that experience and, I'm not going to react to every cheer, to every chant. But like I said before, it just fuels me. It doesn't do the opposite of what people may think, which is, make me feel like I'm not doing a good job or, deter me from getting the job done.
Can you talk about the decision to accept the rehydration clause?
I'm sorry?
Talk about the decision to accept the rehydration clause.
Well, I don't know if we would have got the fight if we wouldn't accept the terms that Golden Boy set out. And plus, this is not something that I'm not familiar with. We did it in my last fight, and I physically felt great. We followed the 10-pound rules, and we still came in the fight the weight that we wanted to come in. It's just that the day before, we have to eat still kind of on a diet that we've been having all along the camps, which is it's not a bad thing. I mean, the 10-pound rule is not the worst thing that they couldn't have thrown at me. So.
Were you insulted by that?
I wasn't insulted at all. No, I kind of knew it. It was actually kind of expected because when I fought Golovkin, there was this whole big thing, which was a lie, that I came in the ring at 180, 85 pounds, and that was the reason that I was able to do so well. But if you guys know boxing, you know a fighter who gained 25 pounds in less than 24 hours can't perform the way that I performed, can't move, can't be sharp the way that I was in the Golovkin fight. So I'm here to not only kill that and let the fans know that I go by the rules and that I can come into the fight at a comfortable weight where it's convenient for me and I don't need any advantages. It's just my skills that speak for himself.
What are the terms of that policy? I know it's you can only put on no more than 10 pounds.
Still got it.
Mm-hmm.
So the weigh-in will be at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Listen, he doesn't have to come in 10 pound under. It's up to him.
You're the way eating on Saturday.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he can come in over 10 pounds if he wants. There's penalties. There's still a fight, but see how he feels.
Right. You never know.
No, there's penalties. Yeah, but 170. Yeah, that's the requirements of the contract. But still, if he doesn't feel like making it, and he's got a bit of spare change,
Right.
he might choose to come in a couple of pound over, or I might pay it for him. You never know.
Right.
I don't actually know. But the one thing's for sure, he won't lose a belt. He won't lose the fight. It's just, but really, when we spoke about this was the last point of the deal to speak about with Keith and Danny, and it wasn't even, oh no, I can't believe they've asked for that. It was like, no problem.
Right.
And how much we talking?
What?
We can't talk about
No,
that.
that's small change for you, Dan.
Lance?
Danny, you were in New York. You lost a close decision to Triple G, and you know the history of boxing is that whether it exists or not, it seems like there's a seed in judges' head that they know this is in the best interest of boxing for me to maybe score this round this way to the fighter who should win. How do you deal with that this fight? You've got to be training a little bit extra for that knockout to take that out of the equation.
Not really. We're not really training to do anything extra than when I feel like we need to. Obviously, we want to be able to give our best, but I feel like my best would be enough. I think what I've learned from the Golovkin fight is probably to come forward a little bit more and not stay on the back foot so much, or at least stand my ground and be sharp in that aspect. But I don't think we need to be who we're not inside that ring to try to perform because of the sway of the crowd or because of the influence of the judges. We have fine judges. Everything is intact. I think I'll get a fair shake, and I think it's really just up to me to go inside the ring and prove my destiny.
George?
Okay, I have two questions, Joe. First of all, your team, you've had your team around you for such a long time. What does that loyalty aspect mean to you?
It means everything because for me, I've always wanted to start out with a team and end with my team. I think the fact that Victor Roundtree is no longer here, even though he's here with us in spirit, I think the fact that I still have all the rest of my guys who has been with me since day one. We got a couple new guys, but even still, they're like family to me. The fact that we're doing this together as a journey means so much more because, the sacrifice does not only comes from me, but it comes from every one of these people who take their time out of their lives to dedicate themselves to me so that I could be the best version of myself. And I think from Scooter to Big Lou, to my man Mike Basil, to all of these different guys who take their time to help me in all that I do. Hopefully I'm not forgetting somebody. But
As long as you didn't.
Oh, Chris, yeah, I can't forget Chris. Chris Algeria. Everybody who takes time out of their lives to make sure that I'm my best. We've been rocking for a very long time now, and I just look forward to enjoying this victory with my team because this is not a fight that cannot be won.
I have one more. Tiger Woods, of course, came back from couldn't walk, back ailments. Could you perhaps, I won't say more than anyone, but more than a lot of people, identify with him? You know how far he had to go through to get where he got. Could you identify with that?
To a degree, but I think, in all due respects to Tiger, he has a great comeback story. But I just think that he didn't have any physical damage done to his body, or he might have just not been the best player in this league and had some personal issues outside of his sport. Yeah. I'm not really familiar with his story, but I just think that, I mean, for me, just having an opportunity to be a symbol of hope in myself, that just motivates me. And there are so many other people that I appreciate and that I look up to that have, great comeback stories. But, what's driving me is to have one of the best comeback stories in boxing.
Did LeBron and Maverick and the 40 Days show capture you in a way that was to your satisfaction?
They did. They did a really good job. I don't think there was any bias in the way they portrayed me. Obviously, my family is my life, so they got a chance to display my son and my family life and what's most important to me. And they represented me well, so there's no issues when it comes to that.
You just touched on some of the examples of adversity and overcoming that you've been impressed by or not you admire. Do you mind touching on those?
Well, there's guys like Vinny Paz that obviously has one of the greatest comeback stories in boxing. So many other guys, but that's right now the name that I can say sticks out because it's within my sport. And seeing his movie and knowing it was so much that was similar to what I've gone through, it motivates me, because there's going to be so many things that people can say you're not going to be able to do, and when your back is against the wall, obviously, all of this is not guaranteed. So it's a matter of self versus mind, and I finally got to a place where I was able to mentally tell myself that I can do it, and then, sure enough, the body followed, and here we are today.
And what about Muhammad Ali? Of course, it was about civil rights movements, a lot of things, but
Oh, yeah.
one of the best boxing boxers. Do you think your story can be that hard?
I mean, I can't rate where my story would be or my comeback would be, given the fact that we'd be victorious with this. But I know I'll be amongst one of the best because, I just didn't have cancer. I was paralyzed. So that's a whole different story in itself. But I respect and admire and idolize Ali for all that he stood for, because he was not only a champion inside the ring, but he was the people's champion. He represented the culture. So for me, being a symbol of hope in myself through so many people affected by cancer throughout the world makes me, in my mind, the people's champion and representing that anything is possible if self-belief, self-confidence, and never giving up, putting the creator high. Anything is. Yeah, I got one more question.
You're talking about Canelo being the face of boxing. For some reason, there's still some people in Mexico who don't believe in him, who also think he's just a product of TV. What do you think about that? Because you are talking about an elite fighter you're going against.
Well, I don't really know too much about what the Mexican people think about Canelo, but from what I know, aside from the stuff that he had going on with the meat and all of those, I don't really want to touch on it too much, but aside from that, he's always been a great fighter. He don't really talk too much for you to say he's this or he's that, but me personally getting the chance to meet him, I think he's a great guy. But my job is just to go inside the ring and block out any distractions and just to go in there and knock Canelo out or get the decision.
You
said you want to block out distractions, but you talk about putting something in your ear, music. What are you listening to music-wise before the fight?
I'm either bumping MOP from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I'm either pumping some Notorious B.I.G., some Bob Marley, some something that just, for me, represents the struggle. Especially the struggle of my people and the culture that truly motivates me because, you know, when Canelo is fighting for his Mexican people, he comes out to Mexican music, and that pride that he feels from that, that's what I get when I'm listening to all of those people who inspire me through their music, because the struggle is very similar that I have. So, yeah.
Is it really a priority for you at all that this is a great fight, or is it just about winning? You know, if the fight turns out to be more of a chess match than people want, is it just about winning?
Yeah, I think it's about the fight for me. I think, you know, I want this fight to be one of those fights where people can talk about for years to come. Not only I just won and beat Canelo Álvarez by a boring fight, I want this to be, I mean, I don't want it to go longer than it have to if I can get the knockout, obviously, but I want this to be a really, really entertaining fight for however long it lasts. So, yeah.
What if that works to your detriment, though? What if it's better for you?
But it's not going to change my game plan. You know, me wanting it to be an exciting fight is not going to change how I perform. That's just my hopes of it. And I know that Canelo brings a lot to the table, but we don't know the Canelo Álvarez that's going to show up come Saturday night. So for me, I have my game plan set forth, and we're just going to try to execute it the best way we know how. But I'm in hopes that it will turn out because our styles complement each other. And if he is to bring it, you can best believe I'm going to bring it.
All right. Wrap?
No question, ma'am?
Danny,
Ma'am? No question?
One question, Danny. When you talk about, you got Chris Algieri in your corner, and Chris has fought guys like Manny Pacquiao before. Has he given you any advice on a big fight like this against one of the biggest stars of boxing like Canelo Álvarez?
Well, yeah, we talk all the time, but I mean, this isn't my first rodeo either. So, you know, for me, the experience that I have going into big fights like this, I just think that I'm self-motivated. I take opinions or I take advice from everybody that either been on this platform or on this level, but I just think that I have enough to be able to go inside and do the work and do the job and get the job done. Cool? Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Exit right. The other right.